It's the most wonderful time of the year. Any Steam sale. So please join me as I lightheartedly try and convince you what the 30 best deals for the Steam Winter Sale 2024 are in this Cheapness Affordable Gaming Review special episode. Let's start off with the methodology. It is not scientific. As said, lighthearted, love subjective opinions. But I will try my best to convince you I won't just throw in old games here. It's easy for an old game to have a massive discount. And sometimes I'll account for things like whether the game goes on sale often or some more loosey-goosey stuff. Now let's have some fun trying to get that Christmas money spent. In 30th place, any Battlefield game on Steam. All the Battlefield games on Steam are at least 90% off. So if you want to try the newest one, Hardline, or want to retreat to Battlefield 1 like a great deal of players did a while back, it's never been cheaper to play Battlefield. It's so low on the list because I'm not really a Battlefield fan, and I don't think the newest one did so well review-wise. In spot 29, we have Need for Speed Unbound. It's on the list because it's 93% off, in spite of the fact it's only 2 years old. It's so low because the review score is so low, and I doubt it delivered on the magic that a lot of us assumed it would try and resurrect from the underground days. In 28th place, it's the Ascent, the gorgeous cyberpunk isometric shooter that can even be played locally with up to 4 players. Why is it so low, you ask? Well, in spite of the fact that it's 75% off, that price feels a bit daunting for me, and I haven't completed it yet, so I don't know how long it lasts and what the value for money is. And while it's not old, it's not young either. Next up, in spot 27, we have AI the SOMNIUM Files. The nirvanA Initiative is on the list because it's 80% off, even though it's only 2 years old. Plus, I love the original. I reviewed it. I'll drop the link to that in the description. Also, please consider liking and subscribing this video. The winter sale started yesterday. Just imagine how quickly I had to cobble this together. But no pressure, I'm grateful you're just watching. Thanks a lot. As to why AI is so low on the list, well, it's a visual novel. Not everyone's bag. Plus, I doubt it will be as good as the first one. In 26th place, I'm going to splurge a bit with Persona 5 Royal. It's included because it's such a beloved game, and it's 60% off in spite of the fact that it's only 2 years old. Not a great sale, but I'll make an exception for this, based on just how much people love it, and how much of the sting the sale takes out of that full price. Wow. Plus, it's a JRPG, and I follow a stereotype, and on average, a JRPG will take you 100 hours. And if that's true, we've got a value for money of like 4 rand something per hour, which is okay. Kind of great for something that's still this new. In 25th place, it's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, simply because it's 85% off, which really isn't bad for a high-end game that's only 3 years old. And that's exciting. In 24th place, we have Yakuza Like a Dragon. Why is it on the list? 2020 was like 4 years ago, and it's only 50% off. I include it because of how beloved it is, and the fact that my memory is pretty good, but not infallible, so I've been feeling that the trend of increasing the base price of games has unfortunately taken off a bit more than I thought it would. And I believe here, in Yakuza's case, we have a game who actually decreased its base price, because I believe initially that price was 999. So kudos to Saga. In 23rd place, I'm putting System Shock, because, well, it's very new, only a year old, only 60% off, but I'll look past it because I've actually played this and it's rather lovely. Sure, at this point the value for money isn't great. It took me like 28 hours to complete the game, and that means that the value for me was 9 rand per hour. So please bear that in mind, but it is rather excellent in its way. In 22nd place, I'm putting a weird one. Research and Destroy. Why? Because the base price is cheap, and on top of that, it's 80% off. It's only 2 years old. It might have a weird local multiplayer thing going on, and it looks like far too delightful a game to be so underknown. I mean, the premise is humanity was wiped out because everyone became an expert, science kind of died out, and ghosts and stuff just took its place. It's so low because, I mean, have you heard of it? In 21st place, we have McPixel free, because first of all, it's cheap, and 80% off, it's only 2 years old, and I really wanted to put at least one point-and-click adventure game here. And in a similar vein, in 20th place, place, I'm gonna put another visual novel, last one I promise, Mediterranea Inferno. A stereotypically weird game that seems to review well, and it's only like 1 year old, and in spite of that, it's 80% off, on top of a fairly cheap full price. In 19th place, I'm going to splurge again with Sifu, because Sifu just looks very cool. It reviews well enough, and is well known, wanted, so I'll look past the fact that it's only 60% off. But once again, not that bad for the age of the game. In 18th place, we have Stellaris. Some might say the ultimate space grand strategy game, where you can be space platypi. It's on here for that reputation, plus the fact the base game is 90% off. But it's old, you're saying? Yes. But recently, it almost doubled its base price. So I'm gonna shout this opportunity out. In 17th place, Song of Nunu. It kind of toes the line between indie and high-end title, so some may argue 60% off is acceptable, especially since it's only a year old, and it is rather beloved. In 16th place, I'm just gonna pop one down, Voidigo. No real reason, it's just a lesser known indie, but 75% off on top of a fairly reasonable base price. It's only like a year old, and it's quite beloved. In 15th place, Marvel's Midnight Suns, the turn-based superhero game. It's a whopping 85% off to really take the sting out of the $999 base price. Not bad for it just being 2 years old. Probably must be because the sales weren't what they were expecting. It's so high up because I just find this game exciting, even though that sale price is still quite high for me. I obviously found it more exciting than Guardians of the Galaxy. In 14th place, Sludge Life. But why, you ask? Not only is Sludge Life a weird, cel-shaded game with a great deal of love on Steam, the second one is also quite beloved, and there's a bundle available for both games at 72% off. And Sludge Life 2 is only a year old. I think that's a great deal. Maybe I arbitrarily put it so low on the list because maybe not everyone knows about this indie title. In 13th place, another brilliantly weird indie title, Clash Artifacts of Chaos. It's on the list because it's 70% off in spite of the fact that it's only a year old, and come on, just look at it. The design alone was what made me bought it, in spite of the fact that I didn't really like the first Clash game that much. In 12th place, we have Bramble, the indie game, and it's a whopping 80% off in spite of the fact that it's only a year old, and has that review score. In 11th place, we have Pumpkin Jack, on the list because it's a lesser known, new 3D platforming franchise. It also reviews well enough, and is 80% off, although yes, it was released in 2020. As you can see, I mentioned some of these were going to be loosey-goosey. In 10th place, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I have no idea what this tightened up original Mass Effect trilogy collection is like, but it's 92% off. That's 79 Rand 99. That's about 27 Rand per original Mass Effect title, and that's not a bad price to pay to get into this incredible franchise. Even if it were the original releases, this sale price takes the sting out of the full. I'll buy it for this. In 9th place, it's another beloved indie title, Spiritfarer. It's not the most recent game though, but it's 85% off. Very good price for something this beloved. In 8th place, yet another weird indie, Bugsnax. It's here because on Steam at least, it's only 2 years old, and it's 76% off, on top of a fairly reasonable base price. Combine that with just how beloved it is, and you got a weird bit of fun on your hands. In 7th place, Assassin's Creed Origins. Why, you ask? It's fairly aged. It's not the worst Assassin's Creed, but it's not the best. And here you can see my loosey-goosey methodology at work. This said of Mass Effect, please don't take the rating too seriously. I'm really just having fun with it. Well, I'm gonna call out this opportunity because it's 90% off. That really takes the sting out of the $999, and who knows when we'll get this opportunity again. Because during the autumn sale, I bought Odyssey, because Odyssey was the one that was 90% off. Origins was just 75% off. And maybe take a gander at the Ubisoft page. A great deal of Assassin's Creed titles are 75% off. If you're that into the franchise, I'm guessing a lot of you are like me. Odyssey has been the first I've bought in a while, since Black Flag. In 6th place, it's local co-op darling, A Way Out. It's 2020, so it's not that recent, but it reviews well enough. People tend to love it for the very specific local co-op that it offers you, and it's 9% off. I usually am not sure about this, but it is on my wish list, and for that price, maybe. In 5th place, we have The Legend Okami. Why? Because it's a very beloved game. Sure, it's an older title that was maybe zhuzhed up a bit, but I believe it really has that place as a lovely, unique title. Still worth playing, and doesn't age that much because of the cel shading. And it's 75% off. Even though the base price isn't the lowest, that is a deal, because I've been checking on this game for a while, and I have not seen it go above 50% off. So maybe jump on this if you're interested. In 4th place, it's Tinykin. In all fairness, this one got away from me. Theoretically, it should be lower on the list, but hey, it's a 3D platform platformer original IP with Pikmin/Overlord minion mechanics. It looks cute, it's rated overwhelmingly positively, it's only 2 years old, and its base price is reasonable with an 80% off, so I'd say its addition is reasonable enough. In third place we have Old World, because it's so new, and Willis Walker of the Jinx TV team can't vouch for it enough, and in spite of the newness of the game, it's 75% off. It's so high up it just feels like a big ticket item to me. Just heads up, it's 4X. In second place we have Psychonauts 2, the creative 3D platformer sequel that is incredibly beloved as well, and it's 75% off. Sure, the fact that it's a 3D platformer will mean that the high base price may warp the value a bit, but it just excites me, it looks great. And for some reason this price off is the same as the price I paid quite a bit earlier. I don't know why Double Fine Games are so intent on making the sale. And lastly, in my opinion, the best deal of the Steam Winter Sale 2024 is the Divinity Source Saga bundle. Both Divinity games for 85% off. For that price, Divinity 1 on its own would have good value for money. Sure, I know that Divinity 1 is from 2015 and Divinity 2 isn't that recent either, but you have to admit for the legacy that these games have, just how beloved they are, and honestly how stubborn they can be on the size of the discount, that's why I picked this for the top spot. As you can see, once again loosey-goosey, but I feel like it's a fairly helpful list. I hope my knowledge of cheapness can be helpful to anyone.